What up, what up? Cranking the hog here. Cranking like normal. Yeah, so we're getting up to the 25.50 on Bovada. Still at the small stakes, but we are crushing. In today's video, we have gotten Ace King 5 different times. Aces once as well. You're gonna see the hog crank. And you're gonna see me stunt on them fishes like I am professional fisherman Brett Hodges. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So this is going to be the first hand of the day, and we pick up ace 8 of clubs in the small blind. Early position limps, and I'm going to go ahead and jack this up to $2 because of the limper. And he's going to call, as most limpers do, and we see a very unfavorable board of 6 deuce jack 2 hearts. So when this guy bets a pretty small amount, he bets $1 into 4 or a little bit over 4. I just don't think he's repping anything strong, and you have to account for his limping range too. I think at best he has a weak jack here, maybe something like jack 8 or jack 7 because of removal to jack 8. So I am going to call and hopes he checks turn, and if he does check turn, I could probably get away with a raise. So yeah, I call, and the turn doesn't really bring any help with the 5 of clubs, but it goes check check. I am first to act, and the 9 of hearts completes the flush draw, so I bet pretty big. And sure enough, he does fold, and we take down like a $6 pot. Look at these beauties flip over. Ace King suited in the best position. On the button. We're going to go ahead and do what's natural and 3-bet this Johnson to 350. He is under the gun, so he's going to have stuff that is very strong. But he just elects to call here. And we see a board of Jack, King, Deuce. So this is a very wet board. And because he calls my 3-bet, I am more likely to have the sets. I am more likely to have the top pairs, while he is more likely to have the flush draws or the straight draws. And when he bets 50 cents, I think that's just his version of a blocker bet. I'm not sure why anybody would use that sizing on the flop. It's kind of just, you're asking to get raised no matter what you have. And so when I have a strong hand, if they're asking to get raised, I'm going to do it myself. With Ace King, I just jacked this one up to 470 here, and he does decide to call. You see the turn of a dream. The 3 of hearts giving us a nut flush draw, all the while being most of the time a brick. I'm just gonna bet $4. Dude has to call. Look at his SPR. This guy is, oh, he's lost, man. He's got to call with any pair, any decent draw. Yeah, he's lost here. And Buddy flips over Queen Jack of diamonds. I don't know what he was thinking here. He calls and just donates $24 to me, which is always great. I love it, and hopefully he does it again. Yeah, I love big dick suited. Oops, my bad. Big slick suited. So I got it again. Ace King of spades here. Button calls my $150 raise under the gun, and it's just going to be heads up. We see a more than favorable flop of 2 ace 9 rainbow. Out of position against a button who has a wider range. That's very important to note. And another thing that is very important to note is that I've been very aggressive in the past hands. I think if I bet here, I'm obviously repping the ace with me being under the gun and raising. And if I want to get paid from maybe a lower pocket pair or any pair of 9s, I need to check this. I need to check this and bet turn and maybe river. And that is exactly what I do. I check the flop, wouldn't mind a bet from him, but he is going to check back. What the turn brings is a 4 of hearts. Hearts have a backdoor flush draw now, and I think it's a perfect time to start betting. I bet out for half pot. I don't know. I feel like this is an easy way to look like I'm trying to steal it here. $2 is still significant. Half pot when it goes check check is usually a sign of strength, but I could still get called by what I mentioned previously on the flop with a lower pocket pair, a pair of 9s, or even now, if he's got something like 5-4 or 6-4 suited, he'd probably be calling with that. And that's exactly what he does, is call. Alright, off to a river we go, and we see the Queen of Diamonds. Heart draws a brick out, and I get a little greedy here. I think with the hands, again, that I mentioned beforehand, no pun intended there, I don't think they're going to call this bet, but I go 3/4 pot for $6. May get a hero call with something like Jack 9, 10 9, something of the sorts. I just don't think I'm going to get raised here often. I don't think that's just going to happen. But yeah, this guy just ends up folding. Probably had hearts or a pair of 4s. So yeah, we take down a nice $7, $8 pot. So we see the solver hand. We see ace 5 of hearts in the big blind. Limp, early position. He's an idiot. Button folds. And then the small blind here gets a little tricky. He raises decently sized. So I 3-bet him because, boom, solver hand. And he's just going to flat call out of position. This board is wetter than me watching Mia Khalifa. It's Jack, King, Queen. So this is about as good as it gets without actually having anything on the board. I have 2 ways to make the nuts. If a 10 comes, I have the nut straight, I have Broadway. And if any other heart comes, I have the nut flush. So when he bets about half pot, I am kind of scared because there is a lot of sets in his range. Even a lot of 10s. 10s scare me because 10s have an open ender. But I am very scared, not only because it's half pot bet, but he donks into me. I was the pre-flop aggressor, so I think when he does this, he just has very, very, very strong hands because this board right here should favor me more than him. I think maybe he did call with something like jacks because jacks a very gray area to 4-bet with, and jacks have me absolutely demolished right now. So I could raise, but it doesn't really do anything against a set. It probably makes me just go all in with a slight disadvantage. Probably close to flipping, but maybe around 40-60. So I just elect to call here. What do you know? The worst card in the deck comes, Queen of Spades, and this guy's betting. And you could argue pot odds. You could argue, dude, man, you're getting a very cheap price to call. This isn't even 1/4. Or the pot odds to call isn't even 1/4. You have a lot of outs, but man, his primary hand that I put him on of jacks now make a full house, and I'm drawing dead. I don't want to call here and lose a lot of money on the river. I think even when the board pairs and he's still betting, it kind of eliminates him having like a King 10 type of hand. King 9 suited that got out of line, stuff like that. They just would not be betting here. Him doing this, basically, he's just saying he's not really worried, or if the queen favors him. He's not worried that the queen came out, or the queen favors him. And for that reason, I ended up deciding to fold here. Yeah, that's right. I fold my ace 5 of hearts. And I will say, the heart did hit on the river. Bovada has this feature where it can rabbit hunt and it shows the next card, and it did hit on the river, so I would have had an ace high flush, but I definitely don't think it was good here, and I think I'm very happy with my fold. I don't know, it was just a lot more easier to win hands with ace king. I kind of wish I had another ace king type hand. It's so much easier. The hand plays itself. Speaking of, we pick up ace king in the small blind here. Pretty excited to see my old friend again. It isn't suited, but hey, I'm not complaining. Actually, a little bit. I've seen suited so many times. This is pretty standard. You're just gonna go ahead and 3-bet, but I'm 3-betting small because this guy's range is pretty narrow. So he does decide to call, and we see a board of ace king 4. So I decide to check my aces up here because I think a lot of the time I'm just blocking value. You know, I removal to both second and top pair. But when I see him bet $2, I'm licking my chops. I'm salivating. Drool is coming from my mouth and dripping on my keyboard as I'm imagining ways to stack this SOB. I mean, along with his $2, this guy just brought a shovel because he's digging his own grave. I mean, I also have the king of diamonds. This guy cannot be betting with the nut flush draw. I have that. I have the nut butt in my butt crut flush draw. I don't know what he has here. I really don't. I think he could have an ace. And I think this is where I've misplayed my hand because I think that's really the only thing he could have. And I think if that's the case, I think working as a re-raise right here, if I bet I don't know, something small like a $7 bet, $7 re-raise, he's just never folding. People online aren't that great, especially at this level. He's never folding. But I just decide to call here. I see a very unfortunate turn card, and that's going to be the 5 of diamonds, and I check, and he bets $3.25. So I experienced what the good people of the Eastern world call karma for trying to trap this fool, because now I cannot raise this. Yeah, he doesn't have the nut flush, but he very much could have a flush, if not two, three of diamonds. So it's just like, dang, I can't raise this. I don't have anything close to the nuts. I don't have anything that if I would raise, and he's only going to call me with better. So yeah, I'm forced to call his 33% pot bet with just top two. I'm just hoping I see my favorite card in the deck, and like a 10 of spades or something like that on the river, and I see the 10 of spades on the river, and I check. So the guy bets $11, and I don't like to see it. I kind of wish he kept up his little 33% strategy. And maybe I could have gone for some ever so thin value with my top two. But this $11, there's not really I could do other than call. But I am a little comforted because I think he knows since I 3-bet him, there's not many combinations I have of diamonds, especially because the ace of diamonds is already accounted for. I could have king, queen of diamonds, or king, jack, jack 10 of diamonds. But, yeah, so I think him knowing that, he would have bet at least pot with a flush, so I kind of think he doesn't have a flush. Queen jack makes a straight, but why would queen jack still be betting, you know, basically a double barrel bluff up until this point. So I could go for some thin value here, but I really don't think I'm going to get called by worse. So I do elect to call, and he flips over ace 4 of spades. This is a hand that he might have called a re-raise all in. I don't know. It would be pretty light of a call, but yeah, this was one of the few hands that I could have re-raised for value. But I'm not mad. I mean, I can't go seeking the maximum and make the maximum every single time I try to do so. That's just not going to happen. I have to be realistic, and I think more often than not, if I'm re-raising all in there, I'm getting snapped off by something better. But we take home a $38 pot, which is always more than welcome. And speaking of more than welcome, how about the pocket rockets on the button? And I see it fold around, and I'm low-key shaking in my pants. I bet out for 150, and small blind folds, and the big blind calls. Thank God. We see a flop 5-3-8, 2 diamonds. Pretty standard here. I bet he calls. Pot's at $5. Pretty much a blank. I bet he calls. I have to do bet small to keep him in, and we see another diamond, which I'm scared. So he sizes up for a half pot bet, and ladies and gentlemen, let's study the art of donking. Yes, donking. It's what your shitty ass friends do in your local 5-10 cent game. Donking on the flop is a probe bet with a weak hand. Donking on the turn is usually a very draw-heavy hand, or if not, something better. Donking on the river is always a very, very strong hand. You could argue that with the ace of diamonds, this guy just can't have the nuts, and you know, I should re-raise him. I have aces here, for crying out loud. I have an overpair. I'm always going to have an overpair. You know, every single time I've played aces, I've always had an overpair. Like, that is insane to me. Jokes aside, I could do nothing. I could do nothing but cry, as I know I'm about to lose $4 freaking dollars. Look down the bottom left. You see that red payout. You know what's about to happen. I know what's about to happen. I'm crying. Tears are dripping down to my keyboard. My computer is short-circuiting because all the tears are getting into the hardware. I throw in my measly $4 and he flips over a straight flush draw off the flop that he just decided, yeah, sure, I'll call for the minimum. I lost the minimum in this hand despite leading out for the first 2 streets. But yeah, aces are cracked by 6-4 of diamonds. Probably wondering, Queen 9, what is this guy playing Queen 9 for? But you gotta know when the user positioning, and on the button and facing a limper, I probably know I could take advantage of a weak hand here, and when he does call, I'm very happy. We see a very unfavorable board, but favorable for my range. I bet he folds. Simple as that. Take advantage of your range and your positioning. And I get one of my least favorite hands on the cutoff. I have ace jack offsuit, can do nothing but raise here, and immediately I am 3-bet. A standard 3-bet raise. I could do nothing but call. You could argue I could fold here. Most people fold, but I'm a little crazy. I do bink second pair. He bets. Can do nothing but call. I have a jack of hearts. That's important to note. Here's interesting. I check, he checks. I think when I see him check this, I usually have the best hand here. I think most kings he's going to have with him 3-betting are going to be pretty strong. At least king, queen. He could have king jack suited, but there's only 2 combinations of that left. Actually, 3 now. No, 2. Because I have the jack of hearts and king of hearts is still there. So there's only 2 combinations that he could have of that. Yeah, and he's just not going to have something like that often. So he could have king queen suited if he has a top pair. He could have ace king. But if he has any of those hands I just mentioned, maybe even king 10, he's going to be betting here. I think he's just going to be betting. But when I see this check, I could probably favorably put him on a middle pair, if not a hard draw. So if the river's a brick, I could play check call, which is exactly what I do. Yeah, I mean, I check it, and he bets out about 3/4, and I am a little nervous here. I think a lot of top pairs would play this way. I think a lot of top pairs would, but this is how I bluff. I bluff like I'm betting for value. I just have to hope this guy's a good player, and I think I'm going to play bluff catch here, but I end up electing to do the wrong thing. The dude has king 9 of diamonds. A little crazy there with that 3-bet, but yeah, he gets a nice payday. 18 or $36 pot right there for him. See, I love these little bitty suited connectors. Got so much playability, especially against hands that think they will have you beat. But I do pick up 3 callers pre-flop. We see a very wacky board. 7, 6, 8. Holy nut potential. I get 1 caller, and I'm immediately scared, and we see the 5 of clubs on the turn. I check, and this guy bets. And we see the $3 spill out from his little profile card icon, whatever the hell you want to call it. This is a crazy call. I'm going to call this, as you guys are going to see. This is something that you really shouldn't do. You should immediately fold here. There's literally everything in the world that beats me. There's a 4-liner. There's hearts. But in my head, I'm just like, maybe he has an ace of hearts right here. I'm trying to justify it, but really, this is something you shouldn't call. As you can see, my stack has dwindled a lot. There's been about 4 or 5 hands previously played between this one and the last hand that you just saw. I've lost a couple of very small pots that made me dip below my starting stack. But I tricked myself into calling here, and we see another 5 of hearts. 4-liner to a straight flush. And of course, this is going to go check, check. And you're going to see that I got counterfeited by that 5. So I lose to ace 8 for a better 2-pair. So I do win a small pot after that, but I'm still pretty agitated when I pick up kings in the big blind. This is the hand of the day. Middle position bets. This is a very, very easy 3-bet right here. I am going to do that. I'm going to raise up the $4. He decides to call. We see a very nice board of 5, 3, 9, 2 clubs. I really don't like this check by me, but he does decide to bet. And again, this next play I don't like. I just decide to call. I think when I have an overpair, especially having a king of clubs in my hand, I think I should just be trying to put in as much money as possible. But having my aces cracked already, and that 7-6 hand really agitated me, and I'm kind of scared now. I'm playing with scared money. So I just decide to call, but the turn comes a 6, and that's pretty much a blank, so I don't. He decides to overbet. With my kings, I'm always thinking about aces, right? And you just can't help it. And you're like, oh my god, it's always aces. I'm always it's running into aces every single time I have kings. Kings are ace magnets. If he had aces, he would have 4-bet me. People who trap with aces, I don't see that often. I see people back raising with aces all the time, and I love it because I'm like, this guy's an idiot. I'm gonna get away from aces because he's back raising. It's every single time it's aces. But I think when people do this, or whenever I overbet or shove all in, especially whenever it's 2x or more the pot,
It's with a combo draw. It's with something I think I got a lot of outs of. It's, it's intended as a bluff. It's intended to get someone off a very strong hand. But those hands or those combo draws, like 6-8 suited of clubs, something like that, or 6-7 or something like that. I'm ahead of that. Maybe not by much, but I am ahead. And that is why I decided to stick it in there. I match him. I throw in the $36 or $32 of my own, and he flips over. Jacks? Please, River. Please be clean. Please, for the one time, be clean. Please smash that like button for a clean River. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that's why we do it, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we freaking do it. Holy crap, King's Hold. King's Hold against the 4% equity of the loser butt Jacks, baby. Wait a second. Is that a $90 pot? Okay, so how about King Queen? How about King Queen offsuit, huh? How about that? It's gonna fold around to me when I have the King Queen offsuit. I'm gonna raise it up. And I get 3-bet by the ultra big happy stack. Pretty big stack myself, so I'm kind of timid on calling this, but I do because it's heads up. So you have nice board. But on this monotone board, I check it over to him, and when he bets, this is never just a range bet. This board is so very obviously going to favor me, and he could be like, I'm the 3-better, I'm betting the king, oh, king high, baby. I'm gonna have more kings than him, I'm the 3-better. That's just a stupid play, and I don't think people are doing that very often. But I just can't go anywhere. He could have ace king here and have me outkicked, but I think in the very few hands he could have beat me. I think a lot of the time I am ahead with my queen of diamonds as well. It's a ticket to the second nut flush if another diamond comes, and there aren't too many flushes he could have right now. So yeah, so I do call, and we see the queen of spades, a very welcome sight. So it goes check, check, and then the 10 comes. I definitely think I'm good here. I'm not worried about a flush. You'd be betting the turn with that, and I'm not worried about a straight because, I mean, ace jack, that's it, and it's just a weird range bet. He'd have to have ace jack off because, flushes. He'd be betting turn. So he'd have to have ace jack off, and that's kind of nullified because he 3-bet me, and no one really 3-bets with ace jack off, I guess, if he's on the wilder side. But yeah, so I'm very safe to value bet my king queen here. And unfortunately, yeah, he's just going to go ahead and fold to my half pot bet. But still, we take down a nice pot. So we have a very, maybe underrated, could be said, inconspicuous. But frankly, to say it very bluntly, a hand that shouldn't be here of King 7 of Hearts on the button. So you see this board of 10, 2, 4, 2 spades, and you see my hand, and then you look back at that little orange fella betting out for 150. You're like, Crankin the Hog? Why is this hand in this video? Surely you didn't call here. Surely you didn't call. And to that, I would be like, yes, my fair lady. Yes, sweet little child of mine. I didn't call. And then you breathe a sigh of relief, and you're like, wow. So maybe you're not that bad of a player. Maybe I pegged you as a wrong guy. Peg. And I'm like, I didn't fold either. Yes. Yeah, I got balls. I got stones on me because I'm re-racing with no chance to win. Because there's no way this guy can have anything. What can he have here? Yeah, he's got a 10, he could have ace, 10, he got a jack, 10, he got a queen, 10, he got a king, 10, he could have 10, 9, he could have maybe 10, 8 for suited, I don't know. But I don't give a damn. I re-raise him. And what do you think he does? Why is his hand in this video? Because he folds!
Yeah, so that concludes this video. We did book a win of $49.50. Here is the total overall for the year right there in the upper right corner. We're looking pretty good. We have been in for 50 both times we played, out for the same number. And I'm fine with 2xing my buy-in every single time. So stay tuned for the next video and have a good day.